Let's take a look at Apple's tiniest but mightiest iPad to date. It's been 3 years now, but we finally got a new iPad mini, and while it might just seem like a refresh, the changes are subtle on the outside, but surprisingly fresh on the inside. So today we're gonna dive into what's new, what's the same, and my overall take on this little tablet. Starting with the design, honestly at first glance, you might think it's identical to the Mini 6. And yeah, it pretty much is. The Mini lineup sticks with muted colors like blue, purple, alongside with the reliable Starlight and Space Gray. I went the Space Gray route this time, and it's actually a slightly different shade than the iPad Mini 6. The 6 is darker, just a bit sleeker. Overall, I prefer that shade. But one small new touch on the 7 is that it now says iPad mini on the back instead of just iPad. But otherwise, the setup is nearly identical. The speakers are next to the charging port, volume buttons and Touch ID button are at the top in the same places, and the cameras? Yeah, they're still the same. A 12 megapixel wide-angle camera on the back and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide on the front. The only downside to this is that the front-facing camera is still in portrait orientation, which can be a little bit awkward during video calls if you're holding it in landscape mode. But it does have True Tone Flash now, so it's going to be great for scanning documents or if you're going to be taking a lot of low-light photos. And for anyone that does like snapping pictures on their iPad, the Mini 7 now has Smart HDR4 instead of the 6's Smart HDR3, so photos should be a little bit better. Honestly, I don't use my iPad camera as much. If I'm taking a photo, I'm going to be reaching for my phone, not my iPad. That's just me. But there is secret upgrades with this iPad, and one of them is the USB-C port. It might sound minor, but the Mini 7 now supports faster transfer speeds at 10 gigabits per second with USB 3.1 Gen 2 compared to the 6's Gen 1. So if you're moving a lot of files between devices, this makes a huge difference. And if you use your iPad mini for work and need a bigger screen, it now supports 4K 60Hz on external displays, which was not at all possible for the last generation. It's not quite laptop level, but if you have a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, you could actually get quite a bit done. In the case situation, well, the Mini 7 has the exact same casing as the 6, so if you already have a case for your old Mini, it'll fit this one too. And Apple finally bumped up the storage. No more 64 gigabytes minimum. Now you can choose between 128, 256, and 512 gigabytes. Me personally, I stuck with 256 gigabytes. That was plenty for me on my Mini 6, but it's nice now that you have a bigger option. Now let's get to the real magic of what's going on underneath the hood. Apple upgraded the chip from the A15 Bionic to the A17 Pro. They also doubled down on RAM from 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes. This is a big deal if you're doing anything beyond Netflix or basic note-taking. Whether you're working across multiple tabs, using creative apps like Procreate, or playing in Apple Arcade, you'll feel the difference. It's fast and slightly more powerful than you would expect from something so tiny. For the gamers out there, the A17 Pro chip has hardware-accelerated ray tracing and improved graphics, making mobile gaming on the Mini surprisingly immersive. I was a little bit skeptical about gaming on an iPad this size. My mobile gaming experience is Pocket Camp and more recently Pokemon Pocket, but with a Bluetooth controller, it's actually pretty awesome. The graphics look clean and it's not heating up like crazy, which is always a win. And if you're a gamer who wants to leave your Switch or your Steam Deck at home, this Mini could totally work for you. But beyond those changes, it still looks and feels like the last Mini. But honestly, that's fine by me. The build quality is solid with that sleek aluminum casing that feels both durable and lightweight. I'm obsessed with the portability. It's perfect for throwing into a bag without feeling like you're carrying around a brick or something that you could just snap in half. So for me, that's a win, since I need something small but sturdy on the go, and the Mini is just the right size. Now let's talk about Apple Intelligence, which is one of the coolest upgrades in my opinion. It's Apple's way of bringing in some AI into the Mini, and it adds a ton of useful features. It's essentially a smarter Siri, new productivity tools, and even some upgraded photo editing features. So if you're working on emails and need quick proofreading, Apple Intelligence is a big plus. Not all the features are live yet, but they are set to roll out in updates coming in the next couple months. So there's even more to look forward to. Apple Intelligence has been out for like a week now with their first set of minor features, and so far I've really been enjoying trying them out. Like their new photo cleanup tool, it's like a brush tool that will remove selected areas from your pictures. So if you take a lot of photos, you may find it handy. I also love a handwriting cleanup feature in Notes. Me personally, I have absolutely terrible handwriting, so now that I have something that'll help clean up my notes and make it more legible for me, that's great by me. One of the downsides about the iPad Mini 7 is that Apple dropped support for the 2nd gen Apple Pencil. So the Mini only works with the Apple Pencil Pro or the Apple Pencil USB-C. So if you're upgrading from the 6 like me, you might need a new pencil. But the Apple Pencil Pro is awesome for anyone who sketches, draws, or takes handwritten notes. With better pressure sensitivity, new haptic feedback, and even hover support, it's a great upgrade. The Pencil Pro also lets you set shortcuts just by squeezing it, which sounds a little weird, but really becomes useful once you're used to it. And the hover feature, it shows exactly where you're going to be drawing without even touching the screen, which is really awesome to see fully integrated into apps like Procreate. But one big question that everyone's been asking is, did Apple finally fix the jelly scrolling issue? And the short answer, sort of. Jelly scrolling is when half the screen refreshes slower than the other half, which causes like this wobbly effect. This was a huge complaint with the Mini 6, but I'm happy to say that it's mostly gone on the 7. I noticed it sometimes on the 6, but I honestly wasn't too bothered by it, but now it does feel smoother. And the battery life? Well, Apple claims it has about 8 hours of screen time, which lines up with my experience for lighter tasks like browsing or taking notes. Gaming or heavier apps bring it closer to 6 hours, but it charges in about 2, so it's not groundbreaking, but it's decent. For a device this size, the battery feels more than fine, and unless you're streaming nonstop or gaming hardcore on it, which it's a Mini, you're probably not, it should last you, throughout the day. One thing I wish that Apple had improved more was the display. We're still at 60 Hz refresh rate and no OLED display, so if you're used to ProMotion displays, this might feel slightly outdated, but most Mini users aren't doing intense media on this thing, so it's not a massive deal breaker. And the bezels? Yeah, they're still there, but hey, at least they give you something to grip onto while you're reading or maybe drawing. Now on the connectivity side, the Mini 7 has Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3, so if you've got a Wi-Fi 6E router, your speeds can be super fast. That's great for downloading big files or high quality streaming, which just brings it on par with the more expensive iPads. So is the $499 starting price worth it? Well, here's my take. If you already have a Mini 6, it's probably not a must-have upgrade. The improvements are good, but unless you need extra power or you're excited about Apple Intelligence and the new Pencil Pro features, you might not see a huge difference. But if you're coming from an older model or have never had a Mini, this one is definitely worth considering. You're getting a lot of features usually reserved for the Pro models in a more affordable yet portable form. One last thing to consider is how the iPad Mini fits into your life. It's not going to replace your laptop, but it's definitely more than a simple tablet. For me, it's perfect for travel, note-taking, or quick sketches. I keep it on my desk for jotting down ideas, playing podcasts without interrupting my workflow, and because of its size, I can hold it one-handed without fatigue. It's also great for relaxing with Netflix after a long day, big enough to feel immersive, but small enough that it doesn't feel like a full-size tablet. So to wrap up, the iPad Mini 7 might not be the perfect upgrade from the Mini 6, but it's still a powerful device that fits so many lifestyles. For students, artists, or anyone that needs a portable yet capable device. It's hard to beat. And yeah, maybe someday we'll get thinner bezels or maybe an OLED screen, but if you're into portable productivity or just love tech that feels personal, the Mini 7's definitely got you covered. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like and don't forget to subscribe for more tech content, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!